Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Youth, the Caribbean's home for bold ideas, real stories, and the business leaders shaping our region's future. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter, and each week we go beyond the headlines to uncover the journeys, challenges, and triumphs of entrepreneurs making an impact from Jamaica to the wider Caribbean. Whether you're tuning in from Kingston, Port of Spain, Bridgetown, or beyond, you'll find practical tech tips, community spotlights, and powerful interviews designed to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. This episode is brought to you by Liberty Business, JPS, Digital Video Concept, Madison Shai, and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. We'll be right back. He is a seasoned executive and a trailblazer in Jamaica's energy sector. As Managing Director of Future Energy Source Company Limited, FESCO, Jeremy Barnes has led the company's transformation into a leading transportation fuel distributor and the third largest LPG distributor by volume through its proprietary brand, FESGAS. Under his leadership, FESCO has expanded from 7 service stations in 2017 to 22 by April 2024, successfully launched its IPO in April 2021, and entered the LPG industry in 2023. With over 25 years of experience in the fuel trade and a proven track record in operations management, finance, and strategic growth, Jeremy's impact is seen in FESCO's remarkable rise and continued innovation. Today, he joins us to talk about entrepreneurship, leadership, and building a legacy in Jamaica's energy sector. Jeremy, welcome. Such a pleasure and privilege to have you on the Entrepreneurial Youth.
I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here. So,
Absolutely, because it's been a while. You remember, I host the Entrepreneurial You podcast, right? And I've been trying to get you on, and here you are on the TV edition. So, no time like the present, right?
glad to be here.
Absolutely. All right, so I want to get into a little bit of who is Jeremy Barnes?
Wow, I mean that's
Loaded question.
I can take it. You can take it from so many angles.
Okay, so let's go from perhaps your family upbringing.
Mhm.
Who were you like? What were you like as a child? You know,
Okay.
some of your likes, your hobbies, things like that.
Well, I'm the second boy.
Mhm.
Growing up in a household of 4 children from my mother and my father. My parents were married, until my father passed in October 2023. So I came from a really strong family background. I had a great childhood. My parents really provided for us. They really gave us opportunities. They gave us opportunities not just education from an education standpoint or just from financial, but they also gave us a lot of principles to live by, taught us a lot of lessons. I mean, I really enjoyed my childhood. I really enjoyed high school. I enjoyed college. I enjoyed working, and I enjoy where I am today. Growing up, I was very interested in sports. So I played football at Wolmer's Prep, at Wolmer's Boys, but only up to the Pepsi level. I played basketball in high school. I played even under 17 basketball for Jamaica. So I really enjoyed sports. And there's a lot to learn from sports. One is dedication. Next big one is teamwork and being responsible for what, as a member of a team, you have to be responsible for what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, the team doesn't function as well as it should. Sports really taught me a lot about teamwork, which has translated into, my business or my work world.
What were some of the things that you could identify that you're living now and you
Yeah.
could identify that, they would have played a major role in your life? So were there any particular things that you enjoyed doing, that you can see you're doing it now
Yeah.
and you saw them from then?
I really like math. I mean, and I see that actually in, both I see it a lot in my son who is 6, and I see it in my daughter who is 20 now that she's starting to like math. But my son likes it from he's 6 now. Um, and my daughter is excellent at writing, and I mean, she wrote some poems and stories she's written at age 7. I was blown away that that's the grammar and everything, but that's not me. That's her mom. That's her mom. But I'm really proud of both of them. But I remember, I can't remember what age it was when I actually just stumbled onto Excel, and just the concept of linking cells, and it could produce a solution to you have to adding something over, you could put it in one cell and it translates. And that was like a eureka moment for me. And that dovetailed into me building financial models, or modeling out a lot of business activities and strategies, etc. But that was a real eureka moment when computers were just developing when when I was growing up, in high school, etc. So that was a real big eureka moment for me. That I remember it up to today, just being on a computer and just seeing what Excel could do, and that has really translated through college, work world, and even, as I said, now into just being able to model out ideas and concepts, revenues, profit, etc., to kind of predict in some way or project what you want to do. So that was really important for me. Sounds nerdy, but it is what it is. Yeah.
You talk about, and sometimes it's difficult because we often tend to believe that men are more, your boys growing up, they're more like math and more shy away. Like, I remember stories of going under my class in primary school. Yeah, I used to go to all school, not primary school, that's all right. And you go I would go under the desk and hide when it's math time. Pretend that I'm looking for my pencil or something because I'm not coming out. My pencil's under there, and that's what I'm looking for because I'm not coming out. But I found myself in the later years when I entered university, loving math and stats, and I was helping people with these things. I'm like, oh, how come? Some of the values. Let's talk about some of the values that you were taught growing up.
So, between my mom and my dad is really sticking to stuff, following it through. My dad always said, he who constantly does nothing renders himself incapable of doing anything. And, that really sticks in my head that, you actually have to start something. Having it mulling around in your head and, overthinking, you have to get out of that habit. You have to actually just start doing what you're doing and learn actually from doing it. And, don't be afraid to take risks, because there are risks involved. But I think, as I said, from the math side of my brain, you work out what are the limits. What's the lower limit or the upper limit on an opportunity. And if you can handle the risks that are, on the lower limit, then it kind of empowers you to, to go ahead and take that chance and, take that opportunity. So, yeah.
How did you do in school and to see the transition from school into your work world?
I did everything in school. So I was pretty bright, and I mean, no, I was pretty bright in prep school, high school. I was more cool, I think, or trying to be cool. So, I never really took school that seriously. But I still had the fear of appearance. So, I did pretty well at CXC, and I went on to sixth form. I didn't know much in sixth form. I was very free. But I did get into University of the West Indies, and I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't stay there for a month. I didn't like, at that point in time, you had to go to each professor and have them sign or apply to go in their class. And I just, that day one experience, I didn't like that. I didn't understand why I have to go to somebody and ask to be in their class. And I got into UTech at the same time, so I just transitioned over to UTech. And at that time, it was, just started as UTech, and they said they were going to do 4-year degree programs. And a year into it, they said they won't be able to do that. So I transferred again. My father said, this is the last time you transfer, no more transfers. But I transferred to New York. I went to Baruch College in New York and did, finance. And that was an excellent experience. I graduated well. I mean, top of our class. Got the highest that you can get. I graduated summa cum laude with a GPA over 3.8. Also got an international scholarship for international business. So I did pretty well in school, but I mean, I enjoyed life. I mean, I did sports back in the day, like we have sound systems like Stone Up, etc. Back in high school, me and my friends had a sound system they called Phase 4. So I did like music, I did like going out, I did like everything everybody else like. But my parents, you have to go to church and you have to deal with school. You understand? So with all, you have to just balance everything. So the reality for me growing up, I used to have brethren them that they didn't have music, but them one day they kind of like smoke weed, and I never did that. So once the music kind of turn off and them want go into that, I used to just jump back over to the basketball, the sports side. I'm out to my sports brethren them. And when them never really wanted to do schoolwork, I just jump over to my nerdy friend them and go to schoolwork. So, at Wolmer's, I mixed with everybody. And there were aspects of everybody and every group that matched what I did. So I wasn't really just into one clique or one crew. When they were doing something that I wasn't too interested in, I just jumped to my other friends. So yeah, growing up, I think it was a well-rounded.
That speaks to a level of emotional intelligence from a very early age too, because some persons they would either follow the trend of whatever they're the peer pressure or whatever in that particular clique or group, not movie, but then or even isolating themselves totally from others. But you were able to see the best, and I think that's the beauty of life, being able to take the best of people, because there's nobody that's perfect.
I'm far from perfect.
What's life in terms of the difference, the most staunch difference that you can tell between university life in the United States versus in Jamaica?
All right, so I grew up middle class in Jamaica. Jamaica is a country where black people are bank managers, policemen, politicians, even your prime minister. So you have a concept of black people achieving in any and all spheres. Going to New York again, being middle class, and then being dropped in the middle of Manhattan, I used to feel, my like Adidas shirt or my like Levi's jeans was cool. And when you land in the middle of Manhattan, the poorest people have on what you have on. So it was like a reality check.
I'm rich over here.
I'm not even rich. You're in the lowest social group. And that was a big reality check for me. I was like, okay. And then you realize a lot of the stuff that we as Jamaicans tend to value and consider what it was, to be wealth. No, it wasn't. I mean, back in the day, I think it was what? We had Sony TV in your house, and if you have a Sony TV, it's a Bose TV. And I went to New York, and I mean, this was like 1998, You had flat panel TV, I go in this place, and I mean, flat panel TVs never come out till 2000 or something, We like 5-7 years, but there were stores and they had them available. And I was seeing some stuff that real rich people had. I remember even a friend of mine, he worked at like a kid's store, and he was telling me that one stroller, and I'm talking about the year 1999, one stroller cost $6,500 US. So I understand that there is levels to everything. And, so that was very, very interesting to me. And, the New York taught me that, if you don't do something, it's not done. And the reality of deadlines, Jamaica has a thing where nobody don't really look at deadlines and stuff like that. But New York really taught me that people have deadlines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people move with purpose.
People move with purpose. The professor said that this thing is due Friday at this time. That is the time it's due. It's not the next day. I remember even the registering for school, they used to set up in within the library that you could, go on the phone, because it wasn't internet time that much. So that toll free, they used to set up, tens or dozens of phone booths where you could go on and register. And I remember seeing all of that elaborate setup. And let's say registration finished on the 30th, and I went in there on the 1st. I registered, when I went in there on the 1st, you could never recognize that the whole of that library was transformed into a registration booth with phones everywhere. None of that is there anymore. Registration is closed. That concept in Jamaica don't exist. Because usually when something ends, they give you another week or whatever the reason is, they extend the deadline. Now, I learned in New York very fast that when they say, this is how it go, this is how it go.
Such an interesting and inspiring story that you're sharing about your journey, Jeremy. We're going to go to our first break now, and when we come back, we're going to go into the FESCO story, a bit of you transitioning from the world of school to the world of work and how you ended up, at the role you are now with FESCO. Let's take a break.
Jamaica rise, we're built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores,
we're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky.
Shine bright, Jamaica.
Shine bright, Jamaica.
Feel the rhythm, we're on track.
Feel it, feel it.
Together we rise, together we climb.
JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS, they make the shine never end.
Welcome back. All right, Jeremy. Before the break, you were sharing all these nuggets and kind of eye openers, what you saw going to New York, going to university, and so on. So take us to the point you are no longer in university, you're now entering the world of work. What was that transition like? And we're going to go right into the FESCO story.
My parents operated a gas station throughout my childhood. So entering the world of work was not new to me because we always worked. During high school, sixth form, or during high school, I used to work at the gas station on the weekends. So working was nothing new to me. Coming out of university, my dad and my family wanted us to work for somebody else. There's a difference between working for family and working for somebody else. So my first job out of college was, working at a firm that you had to apply for, that your parents ever help you to try to get the job, nothing like that. You had to just go out there, go look at work and make it on your own. So that's what I did. I came back to Jamaica. Because my fiance lived in Jamaica and, wanted to get married, etc. at that time. So I came back to Jamaica, we got married, and I got my first job. What was interesting about work at that time was, again, trying to transition back to Jamaica and the difference between, deadlines, etc., and professionalism and trying to set up systems. And it was okay. It was a pretty interesting, it was a good job. It was a really good job. Executive assistant to the chairman. And the great part about that job is that as the assistant to the chairman, I was able to think of problems or situations from looking down. So it wasn't just like you're being in an accounts department or in the HR department or in the finance or admin or any one of those. It's looking at everything. So from a family business, which is like that, where you actually have to understand the entire business. Again, I was put in a situation you have to understand the entire business. So I wasn't pigeonholed in a situation. Some people always talk, you need to pay people more, which I agree. You need to pay people more as best as they can. But then you also have to look at the other side of it. If I pay people more, do I have the money to pay them in the first instance? Because that's a reality, that you have to actually have the revenues and the gross profits to pay them. So you have to balance that equation. So you're looking at the entire situation. What you might find is, I need to pay people more, but what I also need to do at the exact same time is actually to grow the profits of the company. So I have the ability to pay them. So once you learn that everything works together, it's not just in different silos or segments, then you understand the entire business, and you understand that when you want to do one thing, you actually maybe have to do 4 other things to make that one thing work. And that was cemented, as I say, in my first job, being executive assistant to the chairman. And as I said, came from my family business again, where you know that, hey, if you're going to have to pay, you will have to pay these bills, and you have to earn money to pay these bills. And I think that was a very, very valuable lesson from my mother and my father, that their first priority was always to pay the bills. We don't owe people money. We're trying not to owe anybody money. And the first thing is to do is to pay your bills. After that, you can start think and talk about everything else. But the first priority is to pay the bills. And then, as I said, in order to pay the bills, you know that you have to go there and actually make some money to pay the bills. So it gives you a focus on what is actually important.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. So we want to talk about now the genesis of FESCO, with 5 gas stations coming together to, well, let you tell the story.
Right. So FESCO is, okay, so you had 5 businessmen who all operated their own service stations, right? Trevor Heaven, Hugh Core, Errol McGaw, Junior Williams, and my dad, Trevor Barnes. 5 of them operated their own gas stations, under other brands, from Texaco to Petcom to Unipet. They looked at the framework of which they were under. They owned their own stations, and they said, you know what? With all the experience we've gathered together, I think we could build our own brand, and we could make it competitive. So they launched out and tried that in 2013. Latter part of 2013, when they sold their first liters of gas. They wanted to create a company that was dealer-centric, customer-centric, staff-centric. And they believed that they could do that at a high level. And they made particular focus on the brand. And, they really wanted to do something innovative in this energy space. I came into the company later on, around 2017, but I was there from 2013, 2014. Because my dad bounced ideas off of all of us all the time. How does this brand look? Yeah, look all right. Yeah, when they finally came with the final logo, everything, yeah, it really looked good. So from the beginning, I was there in the background, but around 2017, I came into the company. Through the chairman, Trevor Heaven and Hugh Core, we worked on another project, and they saw what I was able to do on that other project, and they invited me to come in to try to take FESCO to improve on what FESCO was doing. So, as I said, that was 2017, and, that's when I took over. At that point, we had 7 locations. Part of the charter, or what we wanted to do, the strategic vision, was to grow the brand, grow the locations, and to become a public company, because we also believe strongly that Jamaican people should own part of the energy space, and I wanted to make the ownership open to everybody. So it was one of the first goals of the company was actually to become a public company where our customers could be owners of the company.
You have very intentionality from the get-go.
From the get-go, yeah.
Right, and we're going to look a little into that in terms of strategies and stuff, but I must comment on how interesting it is against the backdrop, we're in the Caribbean, and we get a lot of, we don't work together, we're always competing, we don't collaborate, and so on. So I don't even know what question to ask, because this is just, when I think about the history of FESCO, it helps me to understand that we can work together, right? But what led all the founders to wanting to do this? Because no doubt they were individually.
Correct. It's an excellent question. I get asked it all the time, because people genuinely can't understand and they're trying to find out who is the one.
Yeah, who's the one, right?
Who is the one? And they keep asking, who is the one? Who is the one? Who is the one? And the answer to that, honestly, there is no one. The 5 people had to take their egos out. You have to rest your ego to the side. And again, I was a 6 and I have to leave my ego to the side. There's no ego in this. This is, we can go farther together approach, much further together. So once the ego was removed, we're able to look and say, where do we want to get to and how do we get there? And how we get there, I said, was trying to be dealer-centric, customer-centric, and staff-centric. So if you're asking what is FESCO? FESCO is an amalgamation of people with distinct talents and drive, a vision for the future that put ego to the side.
The branding, you mentioned it a couple of times. You
Mhm.
mentioned how, your parents would come, they look at the logo, oh, I look good, and feeling like this is great, right?
Yeah.
And I know one of the questions you also get asked often is whether this is a local company or if it's a foreign-owned company, right? What do you think when you get that question? How does it make you feel?
It's an interesting question that I get asked all the time, and even if they believe it's a local owned company, which it is, and it started in Jamaica, and they always, question, okay, are you affiliated with somebody, overseas who is leading in the direction of the company? And I'm like, no, this is 5 Jamaican men that sat down and they wanted to start something which that they believed could translate into something bigger. Over the years, we have fine-tuned the strategy, we fine-tuned the brand, all of that. But the reality is what we really try to do is to create a value proposition which is giving you the aesthetics and the feel of something international done locally. So we try to adopt the best features and standards from abroad within the context of Jamaica. So you can't just look at the US and say, hey, they have gas stations of this size, etc. Because the United States, their delivery service of gas is mostly self-serve. In Jamaica, it's not self-serve. Nobody really wants to come out to the car and pump gas. So, we have to look at what's best in the leading markets, and we looked at, blending technology. So, we have blending technology before anybody else has it. We can make an 88, a 89, a 91, a 92 gasoline. We can do that in Jamaica. This is not new technology. This technology has been around for 40 years, but it's new to Jamaica because FESCO brought it here. Because we looked outwards and took the best of what's abroad and bring it locally. We also wanted something that people feel a lot proud to be Jamaican or proud. You just look at it and it's Jamaican and you're proud. So and design, the company's name is Future Energy Source Company. So we try to do a lot of stuff that embodies that futuristic, and our motto is proudly Jamaican. So when you look at FESCO Ferry and the spaceship looking, it's a tourist attraction. People come there, they take pictures, there's merch. Our FESCO Beachwood has the rings. So Ferry is a spaceship, Beachwood is the Saturn rings, and FESCO Oval, which we're opening shortly at Spanish Town Road, is a rocket ship. And again, it's something that we do and we want people to feel, and we see it and we hear it in the customer's voice. When they come and they say, you know what, I'm really proud that this is a Jamaican brand. It represents Jamaica well, it looks international, and the quality of service, we try our best to keep the quality of service up. So really just trying to do something that, as a Jamaican, if you can feel pride and feel proud when you see it, and, say, hey, when your family and friends coming home from foreign, and you're driving past, hey, so that gas station, there's Jamaican people own it, Jamaican people design it. It's truly a Jamaican company, and we're really, really, really proud of what we've been able to do so far, and all of it is really possible by the patronage of our customers. And again, we're really, really just grateful for the patronage that we've got so far.
Absolutely, and you have so much to be proud of. And we are going to take a break right now. When we come back, I want to talk about the strategies that you've acted on into expanding so rapidly.
Okay.
In such a very short time. Stay with us. Our conversation with Jeremy Barnes continues right after this.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept. Trendsetters. Employing cutting-edge digital editing technology to deliver superior products on time, every time. Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky. Excellence is in our nature. Call us today for all your video storytelling need. Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Welcome back. Welcome back. You shared so much, Jeremy, before the break about how proud you are of FESCO, and indeed, you have every right to be proud. You started in 2013.
Correct.
2013, and we started with seven gas stations, and in 2025, how many are you?
We're at 22 service stations across the country. We'll be growing in the next couple of years by a significant amount. I think I've commented that, we'll have probably another 7 at least in the next 24 months. But yes, it's been a tremendous growth for us. When we started 5. By 2017, I joined, we had 7. And we're opening up our 22nd at Spanish Town Road in a few weeks. So it's been a very interesting journey, very fun journey. What are our strategies? Again, it comes back to what we initially wanted to be. We want to be dealer centric, so we wanted to invite and allow entrepreneurs to participate in our journey. So many of our service stations are dealer owned, and so we facilitate that entire process from, for them to be entrepreneurs within the energy space. And, we have grown as an organization now, FESCO, where we're operating several service stations. So from a strategy standpoint, again, from the initial point, we believe that together we can go further. From a capital standpoint, that's also important. So because we allow other entrepreneurs to open and operate FESCO service stations, they can bring their capital too. So it's opening the doors to many business people to join us, and together, when we pool our capital together, we can do more faster. So that ability for us, or that willingness for us to share, not just trying to keep everything to ourselves, that capability of us, or that willingness of us to share, has allowed us to grow.
Within this short time that we've been having this conversation, Jeremy, you've stated about the togetherness a couple of times. And as you said, there's this African proverb that comes to mind. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And clearly, it is a mantra that you all live by. You mentioned that the model that you employ mostly is dealer-centric, more dealer-centric. What are some of the different models that obtains within the industry that you operate? And explain a little more about, would you say it's a franchise then that you're offering?
No, it's really it's not the word. It's similar to a franchise, but it's not a franchise. So you have different models. So you have company owned, company operated, which would be if FESCO owns the property and FESCO operates the gas station. Then you have, on the other end, dealer owned, dealer operated. So the dealer owns the location and dealer operates the location and also sells FESCO products. And then you have combinations in between. So you have company owned but dealer operated, and then you can also have dealer owned but company operated. As I said, we focus mainly on dealer owned, dealer operated, and we also do company owned, company operated. But by allowing our dealers to not just operate but own locations, they have the opportunity to invest their capital, get the benefits of investing that capital by owning location, owning the capital appreciation of the land, etc. over time. So we've allowed and share in the pie again, which allows other people to invest their capital, not just us, and we're able to scale and grow at a much faster rate.
Take us now. We want to go on the IPO journey. Right? It was very successful IPO. I'm a shareholder of Proudly.
Yeah.
Take us to that through that journey from you're starting 5 companies coming together, 5 business owners coming together. From day one, how soon into that decision, into that merger, as it were, that you decide that we want to take this thing public?
I joined in 2017 and we listed on April 2021. So that journey from me joining the company was just under 4 years, 3 years more. Because I joined December 2017. So it's really 2018. And the company was started, and everybody, when I hear this, I laugh. The company was started with $900 Jamaican.
Yeah.
Yeah. $180 each person, not even US. Right. So, and the company, again, one of the premise of the company is that you have to make money. So when you start something that you only put $900 in there, is that like there's a pool of money to go hire people and to do all of these things? No, you have to actually earn the money to hire people. You have to earn the money to buy buildings, anything you want to do. You have to earn that money. So that's deeply embedded in FESCO, that if you really want to do anything, you actually have to do it well and earn money at the same time. So the journey of, for the IPO journey, again, I came in, we saw, I believe at the time, we're making probably about $17 million per year. We really wanted to expand all of that, right? So you looked at, and at the time, the great opportunity in Jamaica is a junior market, the junior stock exchange, where you have tax benefits. Plus, from the initial get-go of the business, we always did our accounts on time, have an auditor in place. So you had all of this structure that allows for you to move from one stage to the next. So, during that process, we moved from 5 to 7 to I think 14 locations. And when we thought it was so prudent to do based on a valuation, because generally speaking, back then, the most you could raise was 500 million. And the least you could sell off the business was 20%. Which means that the maximum valuation that you could go to market at was $2.5 billion. So, and then there's a ratio or a PE ratio where you look at and say, what is the company valued? So there was a sweet spot for us from a valuation standpoint. Once we hit that we're going to be valued between 2 and 2.5 billion, that was the opportune time to now enter, to list our shares on the junior market and offer shares for sale, because at the point we could raise our the offer for up to 500 million. Luckily or unluckily, COVID came around, etc. So we adjusted the valuation to make the opportunity better for our investors. So we, instead of going to market for 500 million, went to market for 400 million. Instead of pricing the stock at $1, we priced at 80 cents. So you got to.
What's the thing with everybody starting at $1, anyways?
It's just one of those things. There's nothing really to it. It's just one of those marketing things. So we were going to do it at $1, but we said, you know what? Let's give the people a real opportunity. I would shaved off 20% and gave them at 80 cents. NCP Capital Market was a great partner. That took us through the entire process. A lot of people were skeptical because we're the first company to list out of COVID, I believe. And everybody was like, you're really going to do this during COVID? But we said, why not? I mean, during COVID, our company was still doing well. In fact, because we had destinations, and part of our things, part of our philosophy was always to build destinations. The gasoline is really considered a convenience.
Right.
You go into the theater, you go into the movies, you go into the football game where you need gas. So gas wasn't the destination. Gas was where you had to go to get to the destination. We kind of created a concept where we wanted the gas station to be the destination. So we added convenience stores, supermarkets, pharmacies, money transfer business at the gas station to make it become a destination. So because our gas stations were destinations, during COVID you could go there and do multiple things. And during COVID, as you know, you had like 2-3 hours to get home from work. So instead of going 4 different places, you could just come to our gas station and do multiple services. So during COVID, our business actually expanded because of the convenient nature of our locations. So why not do it then? So we said, okay, fine, we're going to do the IPO. We did the IPO. Again, the patronage of the people and the support of the people was tremendous and amazing. So it was oversubscribed, and I think we closed the offer within 1 day. And here we are.
So let's talk a little bit about how capital intensive is yes, the business in which you operate is. So for an entrepreneur listening or watching right now and thinking, I want to get into this business, what are the considerations?
Well, for the gas station business, location driven. So it's all about location and land real estate. Real estate in Jamaica is very expensive at this point in time. So it will take a significant amount of capital for you to actually get a location. Land prices can vary in Jamaica from as low as 100,000 US per acre to sometimes now 5 million US per acre. Right. So, and a gas station typically going to take at least half an acre to sometimes over an acre. So the land acquisition costs can be very significant. Building a gas station or doing any real estate play right now in Jamaica, again, or anywhere in the world, building out a gas station is very expensive, especially to the standards that we try to build our stations to, by having new drains and oil separators that run around the station, to having blending technology, to having canopies that are well lit, that women customers feel comfortable going, and that's very important to us. We don't just want to have a location that is just a gas dispensary. We want to have a location that families and women feel safe to stop at any point in time. So they have to be well lit, have security in place. I want it to come in and come out also, so we ensure that the queuing is done orderly. The queuing is done orderly. There's a good experience. You're not coming in there and you're bustling and fighting with some, another customer. So yes, a gas station is a big investment. It's an investment in concrete and real estate. So it's not a short-term investment. You're trying to recover and make money over, a long period of time. So it's a very capital intensive business. It's something that you really have to think about and plan and raise capitals to do.
So as much as you can share, because I know right now, as a publicly listed company, you're very mindful of.
Correct.
As you look 5 years down the road,
yeah,
what can shareholders look forward to?
Continued growth. We're at 22 locations. If you look at some of the bigger competitors, they have 80. They're 4 times larger than us on a number of, with regard to number of locations. So what you will see in the next 5 years, you will see continued expansion, which includes additional location of FESCO service stations. We enter the LPG space, so you'll see continued expansion in our cooking gas line. That business again is very capital intensive. To add a new customer, each new customer you basically have to buy 2 cylinders, one for him and one to replace it with. So that is very capital intensive. So in the next 5 years, you'll see more locations. You'll be able to touch us, feel us, and get your cooking gas easier. We'll be expanding further into the commercial LPG. So you'll just be able to access our services a lot easier and a lot more conveniently. Yeah.
Jeremy Barnes, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the Entrepreneurial.
Really appreciate the opportunity, and it was a lot of fun sitting here with you.
It was, thank you. And that wraps our enlightening conversation with Jeremy Barnes. I hope you're leaving as inspired and motivated as I am. Stay tuned, there is more coming right here on the Entrepreneurial You. Coming up, Liberty Tech Talk.
For generations, cable and wireless business was a name synonymous with trust, reach, and reliability across the Caribbean. Today, we're stepping boldly into the future as Liberty Business, not as a reset, but as a level up. Liberty Business is the evolution of that legacy with a renewed commitment to our customers and the region. We are Caribbean built, globally connected, and focused on powering the digital future. Our investment in resilient networks, cloud infrastructure, and 5G reflects our vision of always on, always evolving business support. At Liberty Business, digital transformation isn't just a product pitch, it's a promise. We co-create solutions that help our clients become more resilient, more scalable, and more competitive. As Liberty Business, we're more than a new name. We're a movement, a partner in progress. We're proud of our legacy, passionate about the present, and focused on the future. Together, we're not just connecting businesses, we're connecting people to possibilities.
It's now time for Community Connection, a special segment where we shine the spotlight on exciting projects, inspiring initiatives, and mini features. So, whether it's a behind-the-scenes look, a community highlight, or a sponsor story, this is where we celebrate the connections that drive positive change. Let's dive right in. Today, we're highlighting the Lead Hership Cruise 2025, an experience designed to help women leaders and entrepreneurs from across the region step away from the everyday and immerse themselves in growth, connection, and self-discovery. What sets this cruise apart isn't just the stunning backdrop of the Bahamas or the luxury of being at sea. It's the intentional blend of leadership development, wellness, and authentic networking. Over 5 days aboard Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas, participants will engage in interactive workshops and real conversations with participants who understand the unique challenges and triumphs of leadership. But Lead Hership isn't just a business. It's about creating a space for participants to recharge, reflect, and return home with a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. Whether you're an emerging entrepreneur or a seasoned leader, you'll find support, inspiration, and a powerful group of connection ready to champion your next chapter. If you're ready to invest in yourself and your vision, visit bit.ly/leadhership2025 where you'll find information on how to sign up. This is more than a conference, it's a movement, and the region's future is brighter when we all lead together. That was Community Connection. This episode is brought to you by Liberty Business, JPS, Digital Video Concept, Madison Shy, and Heneka Watkis-Porter.com. Every bold step forward in business starts with vision, grit, and the willingness to challenge the status quo. Today's conversation with Jeremy Barnes reminds us that growth isn't just about numbers. It's about leadership, innovation, and creating opportunities that ripple across Jamaica and the Caribbean. If you're ready to keep learning, growing, and building your own legacy, be sure to subscribe to the Entrepreneurial podcast wherever you listen. whether it's from Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Dive deeper, get inspired, and join a community of change makers. And in the words of Zig Ziglar, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. What good? Today, oh, Michelle did, no, it's okay, let me do it, and then they said that was. And step, no, it's, I say and because I was thinking it's not just Caribbean. Anyway, visit bit.ly if you're, and it's the Caribbean's future. No. Can I say it? That's in umbrella. Okay, thanks, guys.